the ongoing series of leadership and team development, today we will be talking on a very pertinent topic, that is, what are the challenges faced in team decision making and team versus group decision making. When we have the groups in an organization, there are so many issues to be handled and there are different opinions which come as far as the decision making is concerned. Some people, they try to capture the group and other people's, they just follow the group. So what are the various challenges as far as the decision making is concerned in a group we will be talking about. Now before we start with this, let us understand what is a decision making. Decision making is basically a process whereby a final but the best decision is made amongst the alternatives available. Now when you talk about a decision making concept as far as the corporate organizations or the contemporary organizations are concerned, it is not only one way of taking a decisions. There are different alternatives which are available and out of which we have to make a best choice. And the decision making is of course going on to the best choice amongst the different alternatives which are available. Group decision making, which is also known as collaborative decision making, is a situation faced when the individuals collectively make a choice from the alternatives before them. And of course, this decision is no longer attributable to any single individual who is a member of a group. When we have to take a group decision making, it is owned by the entire members of the group. Nobody can say that it is my decision or it is his decision. There is a consensus building in a group and of course everybody will own that decision. So we cannot attribute the group decision making to only one individual. It is the entire group which will own that decision making and it will be attributable to the group at large, not to a single individual. Now let us discuss some group decision making strengths and the weaknesses. Now when you talk about a group decision making, the first and the foremost strength which we will specify is a synergy. That is, 2 plus 2 is not equal to 4, it is equal to 5. So when we add the subparts, the more is much more than sum of its individual parts. Yes, this is the concept of a synergy. So when you talk about a group decision making, so there is definitely a tint of synergy into the group decision making because there are different capabilities in the individuals who are a part of the group. They are having their own upbringing, they have their own strengths and weaknesses. So when they come and take a group decision, so definitely the synergic effects are very, very bright and they are prevalent. Next is you are talking about the sharing of the information. When you talk about a group decision making, each and every member of the group is exposed to the same level of information sharing, owing to which they have a same level of information. Not only this, they have the same level of the overall synergetic effects as far as the group decision making is concerned. The merits and the demerits of taking a particular decision, the information relating to that particular decision making, everything, each and every individual exposed to the same scenario. Then of course, the degree of involvement as far as the group decision making is concerned is also the same. And of course, people will be enlightened to be a part of the group. They will always feel that yes, we are into a group decision making process wherein each and every person in the group is empowered to take a decision and they have a particular say in the organizational decision making. So it is definitely a very, very brighter side of a group decision making, that it has a synergetic effects. The sharing of the information scenario is almost the same and people get involved as far as the decision making is concerned. But on the flip side, there are certain weaknesses also which actually needs to make a specific mention. That is, there is a development of a group think which we will elaborate in the further part of the lecture, that if you have a development of a group think, then of course the creativity of each person in the group is marred. So people will be inhibited, like out of 10 people, if 8 are thinking alike. So the 2 people who have a different way of thinking or who have a different point of view will be inhibited and they will be demotivated to keep their own point of view. So if you are into this kind of a scenario, that means there is a development of a group think, which is definitely not a welcome step. And there are sometimes when you talk about a group decision making, there is a dominance of a particular member or the group of members in a group, which is also detrimental for the group development and achieving of the group goals. They will always try and capture the overall scenario of the group decision making, and they will always be leading as far as the decision making is concerned, keeping others people behind them. So the development of the group think and of course the dominance of the few people, both the factors are considered as the strong weaknesses of the group decision making. And of course, when you are into a process of a group decision making, it is, it involves a huge time, the whole process is very, very time consuming. And of course, coming on to a consensus where the people will have the same way of thinking and coming on to the end of the talks to conclude the talks, and sometimes you're not able to conclude the thoughts because there is a division as far as the group thinking is concerned. So half of the group will have their own point of view, the half of the group will have a different point of view. So you can also face the problem of a group think, and you can also face a problem of a deadlock in the decision making. So it is pertinent for all the students to understand what the group decision making is all about, and how, because this is a very, very important situation which every student will face eventually when you will enter into the arena of placements. So you are working in a corporate, so these kind of group think, group decision making, dominance of few people, you will be actually seeing the practicalities part of it. So let us understand the strengths of a group decision making in detail. So we talked about a synergy effect. What do you mean by synergy? So it's a very simple explanation of 2 plus 2 is not equal to 4, it is equal to 5. So synergy is basically the ability to utilize many minds to develop a multitude of ideas, leading to a very high quality solution. So overall, this is a strength of a group decision making. Now the second is your sharing of information. Each member of the group holds a very specific and a unique organization that when combined together makes for an overall educated quality decisions. And the next is your degree of involvement. The members of a group feel involved with a given problem, and this minimizes their resistance to change, and it strengthens an organization and it facilitates the decision making. Each and every member of the group, they feel so proud that they are a part of the group, they are equally involved. There is no hierarchy in a group decision making, so which gives them the internal strength, and it strengthens the entire group and it facilitates the decision making process. Now let us talk about certain weaknesses in a group decision making. The first and the foremost weakness which we will talk about is a group think. Now what is the concept of a group think? It is a process where the judgment, the mental activity and the effectiveness of a group decision making is hampered by the pressures from the group. So that means what? That if 10 people are there in a group and about 6 or 7 people have a same decision, so the others will also follow their decision. That is, they will follow the trend is their friend. They will not apply their mental activity. They will not involve themselves into the core decision making. They will just say that if the majority of the group is taking one decision, they will also be a part of the same decision making without any kind of an argument, without going into any kind of a judgment, without going into any kind of a discussion in the group, and they will just accept what the others are taking. Let us follow that. So this is a serious activity which is considered as the biggest weakness of a group decision making, that is the development of a group think. And of course there are few people who will dominate the group decision making, which we call it as a dominance of a particular member or the group of members. Now when you talk about the real time scenario of the working of the modern contemporary organizations, there are many a times the decisions are dominated by only few people from a group, and the other members, they don't get a chance to speak their views about. So this is also a very serious repercussion of a group decision making. The next is the groups typically take more time to reach a solution as compared to an individual, as discussions and the arguments on the various points are involved. So let us talk about the group shift and the group think. They are very, very pertinent themes and the topics which is definitely needs a specific mention. So I'll start with a quote. When all think alike, that means no one is thinking. So this is a definite, a very beautiful quote which has a significant meaning. That means when the people are a part of a group and about 60 to 70% of the people are thinking in the same way, and the rest of it will also follow their own way, that means no one is thinking except one or two. So that means no one is putting their brains, no one is putting any kind of an argument, any kind of a discussion, because they are all a victim of a group think. So having a discussion on the group think, on the group decision making and a group shift is very pertinent to explain. Now there is a major difference between the group discussion, the group decision making and the group think and a group shift. In order to maintain a well functioning group, one should encourage the group discussions so that the diverse opinions can come. The people can open up their heart and they are free to speak. There is an open mic and an open door policy kind of an environment where each and everyone feels free to keep their own point of view. And of course, if we have the diverse point of views, it is very, very good for a group overall development and the growth of that particular group, because people are having a free environment wherein they can put their own opinions, discussions, arguments and judgments. So if you are encouraging such an environment in which people are having a say as far as the decisions are concerned, the overall concept is called as a group discussions, and this is a very welcome step for a group to grow and develop. And it is definitely called as a collaborative decision making, but in the same place they should try to eliminate the group think and the group shift. Now it sounds a bit confusing now, but by the end of this particular lecture we will be understanding what group think and what group shift means. Now let me explain you the differences between the three concepts. Sometimes we feel like speaking in a meeting, in a classroom, in an informal group, but we decide against it. Why? There are some pertinent reasons to mention. Mainly because of the shyness, or we may have been a victim of a group think. Some people have a personality that they are very shy when they are in a group. So better they are with the group. Whatever is decided in the group, they will just nod their head that okay, we are okay with this kind of a decision. So that means they are a victim of shyness. So taking some kind of a personality development classes, and slowly and steadily they will grow and they will do away with the shyness, and they will slowly be active in taking the decisions in the group and be a part of the group discussion. But The other serious reason, which is, specifically I'll make a mention, is that they are a victim of the groupthink. So what is the concept of a groupthink? It is basically a term which is coined by a social psychologist, Irving Janis, in the year 1972. It occurs when a group makes a faulty decisions because the group pressures. It led to the deterioration of the mental efficiency, reality testing, and the moral judgment. They are not involved in any of these activities at all. So they suffer seriously from the mental efficiency, the reality testing, and the moral judgment. They don't want to put in their brains or any kind of a thinking level or intellectual activity. They will just follow what the group members are doing. So when the groups are affected by the groupthink, they ignore the alternatives and tend to take a irrational action that dehumanize the other groups. So a group is especially vulnerable to a groupthink when its members are similar in the background, when the group is insulated from the outside opinions, and when there are no clear rules for the decision making. So, Irving Janis lists 8 specific symptoms of a group undergoing a groupthink. The first and the foremost is the illusion of invulnerability. The experts in a group will feel that nothing can go wrong after making a decision because they are the best, and therefore the decisions they made cannot go wrong. So this is a serious one of the specific symptoms of any kind of a group which is undergoing a groupthink, that they always feel that whatever decisions they are taking, they are perfect, they are the best. So they have a very strong illusion of invulnerability. The second reason, which is stated by Irving Janis, out of the 8 specific symptoms which are mentioned by him of a group undergoing a groupthink, is belief in inherent morality of the group. The experts in a group will believe that the decisions they are taking will be morally correct. The third reason is your collective rationalization. The members discount the warnings that their thinking may be irrational. The next is your out-group stereotypes. The members will have the same stereotypes of the problem, so they will not think in a different way. The next is your self-censorship. When a specific expert is asked what to do about a problem, the expert will not give an answer directly contradicting the group wishes. The next is your illusion of unanimity. Even if some individuals of a group privately do not consent to the decision made, the individuals will not speak out. The individual silence will then be perceived as a consent. So there is an illusion of unanimity which is of a very serious concern. Although when you talk to them personally or privately, they will always talk against the decision taken in a group. But when it comes to the meetings and speaking out loud about their particular opinions, they will not do it. They will not speak out. So this kind of a silence and the individuals will then be perceived as a consent, which is again, that means the group is undergoing a process of a groupthink. The next is your direct pressure on the dissenters. So if an individual does not speak out against the will of the majority of the group, all other members will attempt to quell the dissent. So here what I want to state here is that if out of a group of say 15 people, about 12 people are in the favor of taking a decisions and 3 persons are dissenters and they do not agree with the overall decisions taken in a group. So they have a pressure from the other members of the group. So let's wind up and take a decision quickly. So nobody will like those dissenters, and there is an unseen and unfelt pressure on the dissenters that they have to quell, an attempt to quell the dissent. So people will not like, and eventually they will agree to what the people are saying. So there is a direct pressure on the dissenters, and they are likely to surrender very quickly, and they will also accept the decisions taken by the other members of a group. So that means you are actually undergoing the pressure of a group think, and you are a victim. Your particular group is a victim of a group think. The next is your self-appointed mind guards. The leaders of the group of experts will refuse to hear any argument contradicting his own wishes or the will of the majority. Now let me give you some examples of a groupthink. The Bay of Pigs invasion. An invasion was planned by the Eisenhower administration but accepted by the Kennedy administration without any question when they took over. The administration ignored the questions and accepted the stereotypes about the Cubans without questioning whether the Central Intelligence Agency information made sense or not, which further resulted in assassination of the former US President John F. Kennedy. Another example, the bombing of the Pearl Harbor. Many of the senior officers at the Pearl Harbor did not take warnings from the Washington DC about the potential invasion seriously, despite the fact that the Japanese messages had been intercepted. So those who did not take an action believed that the Japanese would not dare to attempt an assault against the US because they would recognize the futility of the war with the United States. So overall, the concept of the groupthink is not conducive to the overall development of the group, and of course it has to be stopped, and an open environment wherein the group discussion and overall participation of the people would be welcome for the group development and the growth of the organization.